Hi everyone, we welcome you to our new episode of InnovateXstream. And today I have with me Senior Director and Global Head of Digital Manufacturing at Stellium, Mr. Joe Montagna. And he is a long-time user of MII and has started working on MII since the Lighthammer days, the original developers of MII. So I did not get a chance to work with him, but we worked in the same company in 2008 and he has been inspiring me since then. So, Joe, welcome to my show.
Thanks, Nusrat. Good to be here.
So, so Joe, can you start by giving us an overview of SAP MI and its initial objectives during Lighthammer's days?
Yeah. So, and this was back in the 2001 time frame when I
Okay.
started with Lighthammer. You know, and,
Mhm.
and it was really it was a toolkit specifically built to talk to the shop floor. And because on the shop floor there's a whole bunch of different silos of information, different systems out there, and everything like that. So the original concept of MII was to you know implement it. It was an on-premise system. You would be able to connect to all that different data and in place. So you didn't have to replicate it. You could bring it back to visualize all together in a page. You could bring it back to do calculations, to do real-time decision making, and it was all focused on shop floor. And that was early. And then a couple of years into it, after we had some success, a couple of the guys that they started to look into. All right, well, shop floor is easy. What about enterprise level stuff? So that's when we created an SAP connector, and that was around 2004. We showed it to SAP at a show, and I think within the year we were acquired by SAP.
Yeah, actually, it was quite a good time then because I just started my career that time and I got trained in MI and it transformed my career. Thanks for helping me out.
Ah, no problem, no problem. It did that for I think a lot of people. That was the big thing back then, and there's a lot of people that still do it. I have a lot of old friends from back in the day.
Yeah, people do like MI very much.
Yeah, so do I.
So, how has MI evolved in terms of functionality and technology from its inception to where it is now?
Oh, so originally MII was super easy. It was Windows based. It was all files. It was like just a file system of XML documents that you could open the file, on the server and manually edit your query templates, your display templates, whatever. So when we did move to SAP, then they put it on NetWeaver. So that complicated that aspect of it. But it was arguably a more robust platform, and even though it made it more complicated, they did add a lot of a lot of the functionalities that now, and the connectivity to SAP got a little bit tighter, and things like that. So I think overall it was a good evolution from the early days. So I think it just made it stronger.
Okay. Yeah, Joe, actually, I remember that we could install MI in laptops in like
Yeah,
10 to 10 minutes.
exactly. And that's where the ease of use was. Back then it was because all of our sales guys had it on their laptops, and that's how you would go demo it. And back in those early days, you could go into a big customer and they would allow you onto their network pretty easily. So we could actually go in with our laptops, and at the time it was called Illuminator, and that was installed on our laptops, and we would be able to connect to their real data and and create pages with their data as a quick demo. And you can't do that now. But that was, back in that time, it was easy.
Yes. Uh, Actually, I'm very, I was very fond of that facility because, as you said, that we could directly create a real-time demo with the customer by
Yeah,
connecting then and there. Now
and
it
it
is a
sold
bit,
itself. Yeah, it was easy.
yeah. So, can you share a few pivotal use cases of SAP MI in action that you worked on?
Yeah, these are, you know um, these are some older ones, but some of my favorites. One of them we were doing in the auto industry, and we were implementing. It was an ME and MII combined implementation. And one of the cool things that we had that we kind of created for them was the ability to log in with their iPads, and they could and we would have them in a booth at any of the shows like a Sapphire or something like that, and they would be able to show their, like, any of their lines. And for example, one of their lines had 36 work centers on it, so you could see the SKU number of every bike in on that line, and in what work center it was, so where it was in its assembly, right? With what order number it was and everything, and that was right from the show floor to do a simple easy demo. They could just whip out their iPads, and they had all that information. They could click on a work center, and they could get a little bit more information about that order that was there at the time, and things like that. So it was just like that, all that information at your fingertips was always such good use cases of MII. Another one of my favorites was the one time I was doing training, and I used to go out and train customers at their site. So it would be a whole room full of a customer, because again, it was an easy to use software where the companies themselves would, I would train them, and they'd be able to develop their own stuff. So it was a cement manufacturer, and they had about 4 or 5 different locations around the country. And I was in doing the training, and there was a couple guys in the back that had already been trained. They came out to Lighthammer to get trained, so they were actually just doing development, and I was kind of helping them through, on breaks and just during the class. And they created if you remember the ticker applet that we used to have, where it was a
Yes.
stock ticker and it would just scroll data. Well, they created a stock ticker applet with temperatures from each of their different facilities around the country, and it was a kiln temperature, and they knew that if a kiln temperature went below a certain below a certain level, that the plant was down. So they did this early in the week, and maybe like on a Thursday, they just were sitting in the back room, the ticker running and everything, and all of a sudden one of the values went red, which meant it was low, because they had it developed so that it would do that. So the guy got on the phone immediately, and he called that site and said, "Hey, what's happened? Why are you guys down?" And the other site was like, "How do you even know we were down? We just went down." So it was just like that kind of is just, it's such a simple thing at that time, showed the power of what MI could do, and the power of visibility into the data. You know what I mean? So it was just like
Yeah.
it was such a great, like, just show of, wow, look at this, look at what such a simple thing can do. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, when I saw MI for the first time, it was really exciting for me as well, because the thought that has been put into the development was very good.
Hmm.
We could get the shop floor data, and we could build our own logic inside the business logic editor. Yeah, and transform the data. So much facilities were given in MI that I was really impressed, and since then I have been working on MI. I got chances to work on other things also, but MI was my favorite.
Yep.
So, like now we have SAP DMC. So, can you explain the motivation behind transitioning from MI to DMC?
Well, they, and just so we know, SAP calls it just DM now. They don't they
Yeah,
don't they don't keep the C because I guess everything is cloud now, right? So
yeah.
SAP is a cloud first company, right? So the one thing you have to remember is that DM is not MII, right? So I think that the main motivation for SAP to transition and to move to DMC is the cloud thing and what SAP did, and they have ME and they have MII. So when they started to build a cloud version of the ME MII products, they took the ME product and they put it on the cloud, which is essentially what DM is. It's ME in the cloud with
Mhm.
with with a lot more functionality. It has, I think, 98% of the functionality that ME had, plus a whole lot more. And it's you know for that it's very good. Now the MII stuff kind of got left behind a little bit. So what they're doing now is, and I've talked to Sam and Sam Castro and a couple of the other guys, and they're starting to now get some of that MII functionality and putting it into the product. So I think the main motivation from transitioning from um, for SAP going to DM is the cloud thing, and they could have easily picked MII functionality to go first, but they pushed ME first. So I think it's going to it'll catch up in the next couple of years. It is what I'm thinking, what they're saying, and what I'm hoping.
Yeah, yeah, because MI is, yeah, we can develop our own ME on MI also.
Right.
So, because it's a toolkit and it provides so much flexibility that
Yeah. Yeah.
we can develop anything. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what that's what that was what's so great about MII. You could build anything. You can build anything that DM does out of the box. Any of the ME functionalities, you can build it with MII. It
Yes.
it, it would take a while, it might take some effort to get some of that out of the box stuff, but you can do it. And in fact, some of the pods that DM offers out of the box, the production order dashboard, or production operator dashboards, that was some stuff, like you can see some stuff that I've built in MII, before ME was even a thing.
Yeah.
Start operations, stop operations, non-conformance, all that stuff is out of the box in ME, but it's stuff that we had, you know, at in different projects have built.
Yeah. Actually, I remember that when XMI came, there was another product called XLPO, but that
Mm-hmm.
didn't, the SAP was pushing that also a lot, but that didn't work
Didn't
out.
take off. Yeah.
So, what I feel like, I have a out here, like, MI can be installed on cloud, but what my perspective is that they want to everything to bring it to BTP in, ecosystem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And again, and that's a pretty solid platform, the BTP, and that's where you're going to do a lot of your extending the DM product, and and I talk a lot with the SAP guys, and they'll say that you can do some of the stuff that you do in MII out of BTP, with custom code and stuff like that. But again, it's well, and I'm not a BTP, trained guy, so it just seems a little bit harder to get some of that stuff done, there than in MII. which is one of the things I talked about in my webinar is transitioning from MII to DM. In that transition, there's going to be a time where you stick with you leave your MII in place, put DM on top of that, and you can use your what you've developed in MII. You can create plugins that ME can or that sorry the DM can utilize still. So there's our recommendation is running as you move from MII to DM, run hybrid DM and MII together using the stuff that you already have built in MII and taking advantage of the functionalities and out of the box stuff that you have in DM.
Yeah, actually, if I remember correctly, that there is a connector for MI also in DMC. There is somewhere. Because while I think a year back when we were trying to connect with the ECC, there was an option to connect with MI also using
Yeah,
DM.
and you can create what the pods use. They use plugins, so you can create custom plugins, and one of those custom plugins can be an MII transaction or some of the functionalities that are already existing there.
So, can you provide insights into how DM integrates with other SAP solutions and how will this benefits manufacturers?
Well, there's a couple different ways. With SAP, it's still that native connectivity, and they have you hook up, and I'll tell you, we struggle a little bit to get it connected. And we're kind of learning too, and SAP was helpful, but we finally did get it. But it's a lot of native connectivity. It's a lot of you're setting up cloud connections and things like that. So you have a piece called the cloud connector. You have to get it set up in BTP, and you kind of have to match everything together. So right now, it's easy to create your production orders in S4, release them, and once they get released, that DM picks them up. You can go through your starting your operations, going through the different routing steps, and then to a completion. And in that completion, you can confirm that, and it just shoots right back up to S4. So it's an easy thing that way. So integration that way on the S4 side is pretty easy. Integration to the shop floor is through plant connectivity still, or they're starting to move towards a production connector, which is just the next version of plant connectivity. And so they're still using that. And there's also options now, and I haven't explored this, I'll be honest, through BTP. So connectivity to shop floor systems, Internet of Things systems, things like that through your BTP connectors now.
Yeah. Actually, ECC connection is quite a big task there. If you want to connect, we need CPI also.
Yes.
Between two.
Yeah, it's all the CPI stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So, from your experience, what are some of the challenges companies faced when implementing SAP MI or transitioning to SAP DMC? And what are the solutions for overcoming these hurdles?
So implementing MII is that we've been doing that for years. So challenges, those challenges, I don't think they're technical anymore. I think they're more of like they always were, the change in way you do things, right? So it was always a big change when you were implementing like an MII solution on a shop floor to, I always said that the change management was always important in projects like that, because you have to get people to accept that and to accept
Mhm.
that the way to change, right? So it's kind of the same thing where now you're transitioning to a DM solution, and you're going to get the same challenges as far as the change management piece with when you're implementing DM. But in the DM might have now some technical challenges because it's new stuff that we're doing. It's cloud based, different things like that. So there are some hurdles on that side. But when you're transitioning from MII to DM, I think that's a big challenge. And we touched on this a little bit already, but
Yeah.
it's a different way to do things. And you're not
Yeah.
going to have your MII, and you're not going to have your MII guys developing DM right out of the box. So there's a lot of challenges that way, which is that's one of the reasons why we to kind of mitigate some of that is to run hybrid, for a time because not all the functionalities exist in DM, right? So
Mhm.
it's truly a different product. So you
Yeah.
can't, and SAP will tell you that yes you can, but I'm going to say you can't do a lot of the MII stuff that you have existing at your companies now. A lot of those screens and the different small little functionalities that you've built in, you can't do that. So that's why you can embed MII screens into DM. So you could link to your existing stuff and everything like that. But you're not gonna be able to do 100% of the same functionality of an MII implementation in your new DM.
Yeah. Actually, I was speaking to someone, and they were also a system integrator, and they told me that they have developed so many solutions on, like, what you call that, packaged solutions for SAP MII, and
Yeah,
all of them are going to get wasted. They have
yeah.
invested a lot on that.
Yep. Everybody had the package solution, and that, and again, for a time, you will be able to run hybrid, so you'll still be able to use those package solutions. But I guess ultimately SAP's plan is to get rid of it altogether. But we'll see.
Yeah, actually, but there is a separate ecosystem also available for products that are not supported by SAP anymore. Like, few people are still running on R3.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, absolutely, no doubt.
yeah. So, looking ahead, how do you see digital manufacturing technologies like SAP MI or DM evolving? Are there any trends or innovation we should be watching?
So so the a lot of you're going from MII to DM. So the evolution there, I think, is, and MII is an on-premise system, right? And that's what I was always, my mindset was always, on-premise for your critical operations in manufacturing, because you do not want that to go down, right?
Mhm.
So we hit into our customers, and their one of their questions is, well, this is cloud based. What happens if we lose connection? So if you lose
Mhm.
connection and you're in the cloud, your MES system is in the cloud, you lose all those pods. So you
Yes.
are down, right? So that's a big risk for that. A lot of companies are questioning. That's scary for manufacturers.
Yeah,
So
actually, that
go ahead.
simple thing like network connectivity should not
Yeah.
halt the production operations.
hmm So, and we had a lot of solutions for MII that would take care of that. So that we built, that was, you would be able to download enough information for, because it was running on premise. If you lost connectivity to SAP, we were still able to build solutions that would continue to run, and the operators had no idea that they were disconnected from SAP, right? So,
Yeah.
but now if you're disconnected, you are down. So I think that one of those trends is that edge solution, right? So what SAP is coming out with is the DM Edge. So DM Edge will allow you to have your pods and everything and run, even though you're not connected to the cloud instance, right? So really, what is it? It's DM on premise.
Yes.
So what's the evolution? Could it be that everybody's moving their MES to the cloud, but then they realize, hey, maybe this isn't the way to go, and everybody moves it back to on premise? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what actually I'm seeing many solutions. First, there is a Microsoft solution for similar to for software connectivity also. They are also having an edge and cloud, both of them.
Yeah.
They learn from the mistakes and then come back to the basics again.
Yep. I always said, like, way back, MII had all this new technology and everything, and all these fun things that we could do, like even up to like a couple of years ago, people would show me demos of stuff that they've done with other products or with new products. And I'd be like, yeah, we were doing that 15 years ago with MII. I said, that's not a big deal, So, it's all the same ideas. It's new technology, better technology, different buzzwords.
Yes. Yes, actually, like I was speaking to you other day that many people are excited about data engineering. That is nothing but processing data. They have just come with a buzzword called data engineering.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we have been doing it for years without knowing that. And when I first heard it, I was thinking that it must be something cool. But when I understood it exactly what it is, then I thought I have been doing this for years. So what
Yep.
is like?
Just the new terminology.
Yes, exactly. Similarly, with AI also, like people have been telling this is AI, and it was nothing but if-else statement. One of my relatives who was working in Samsung, he told me that Bixby bought Bixby AI assistant from Samsung, and that was launched in 2016. People were actually writing statements in the database, and based on that, it was responding to the customers' voice prompts. And recently, I read about that Amazon. Amazon shops that were open without any person with computer vision and all that. There was a demo also on YouTube that you can just pick up the stuff and computer vision will analyze and bill you when you check out from the counter automatically.
Yeah,
But
I've been to a couple airports where they have that, and there's maybe
yeah,
one person watching. You go in, you pick whatever you want, and it charges your credit card on your way out. It's
but
crazy.
no, but the thing is, recently I came across an article. I think Rick shared on his LinkedIn in some comment that there were actually 1,000 workers sitting in India who were analyzing those customers and doing the transactions behind the scenes. It was not AI.
It's like the hamsters running in the wheel behind the scenes, making everything happen.
Yeah. So coming back to discussion, like for companies looking to adopt or upgrade to SAP DM from MII, what advice would you give to ensure a smooth and effective transition?
And I've mentioned this a couple of times. Is DM is not MII. So the plan would be to run in a hybrid type format, a DM MII landscape, and then transition as functionality becomes available, right? Because there definitely is going to be more out of the box stuff, and you always love out of the box, right? So as that becomes available, or as you're able to more easily convert some of that functionality that you've built in MII to DM, that's good, and that's going to be a couple years. Now you could, and there are things that we can identify that, maybe this wouldn't be so bad to do in BTP right now, because there is a lot built, and there is functionality there. But if you want to get an easy, smooth transition, typically it would be an analysis of your MII system. What are you doing with it? Where's your integration? Et cetera, all the basics, and then identify what you can put in DM, and then what's going to still have to stay in MII for the time being. And it's a process, and it's a journey, but eventually I believe that SAP will get there.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's going to be hybrid mode until DM has all the capabilities that MII has.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a long way to go. And I don't think that 27 deadline that SAP has given is going to work out in this case, because
I believe that too, and I know there's talks of extending that. So, I'm fingers crossed on that. But that's the thought.
okay.
It is. MII is a good product still.
Yes, exactly. So, finally, coming to the last question, reflecting on your journey with SAP MI and witnessing the whole era of SAP MI and now evolution to DMC, how do you feel these technologies have shaped the future of manufacturing?
Oh well, even back in starting, back in 2001, all from there, I can pick out points where all the just from the old time manufacturing, shop floor, all manual processes, paper processes, and taking so many customers from paper to using a tablet on the shop floor, no more paper, all of it stored electronically, all those filing cabinets, full of your paperwork gone, just that. And I think that way back when Lighthammer started, to now, that I think there's that we shaped a lot of that manufacturing, how it's done today, and with all the real time information and visibility and things like that. So the move to MES systems, MES in the cloud, it's all just continuing to make manufacturing more scalable, flexible, all those things that that happened during COVID, where you had to change the way you're doing things. I think that the way that these technologies are built allow you to make those modifications quicker, right? The AI and machine learning allow you to do modeling better, and you still have even though it's not a new concept, but the real time visibility and combining data and stuff like that, all that is just getting better. And like I said, it's it's new buzzwords, but it's the same principles, just better technology, bigger,
Yes.
stronger, faster type of thing. So I think that and the next years, whenever Industry 5.0 comes out, I think some of that's starting. We'll see what happens, in the next 10 years. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Joe, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for being on my show and educating my audience about SAP MI. It was
Absolutely.
it was really a great pleasure talking to you and getting to learn many new things about MI and DMC.
Yeah.
So I
Always good to talk to you, Musarat.
thanks a lot, and I'll be bugging you again in future to come to my show and share your progress on DMC.
Absolutely.
We can discuss those things.
Always happy to join you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Thanks,
So this
Musrat.
was Musarat and Joe in InnovateXstream. Have a nice day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.